It's time to chill out and get ready for a mediocre Q&A live stream. If you're old enough, grab yourself your favorite adult beverage, and if you're not, stick with apple juice. Put your feet up and relax. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And now let's cue up the intro music.
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? I always think of The Simpsons, Dr. Nick, I think, when he always comes in, he says, "Hey everybody." I always think of him whenever I say that. I don't know, just silly movie references or TV show references always pop in my head. But hopefully you guys are doing well amidst all the craziness that's going on. I know it's nuts, guys. I'm going to discuss all that stuff and what I got going on and everything, and it's just nuts. So hopefully you guys take care of your family and, stay healthy, be careful, and cross your fingers, save your pennies. So it's definitely crazy. I really, really appreciate everybody coming in here. Wow, the song quote really popped in early. That's interesting. So there's a movie quote and a song quote. The song quote just popped in already. Kind of threw me off a little bit, but see if anybody can get it. So as usual, a couple things I want to talk about. I want to start it off with something really quick. I got like a little rant or whatever I want to go on as usual. Okay, so there is a lot of incorrect information out there, improper information, misleading marketing materials. Not that I'm anybody special. I don't know everything. To the best of my knowledge, as of this point 5 minutes ago in my research, there is no proven cure or anything that has been proven to kill the COVID-19 virus. The reason why I bring that up is because I see so much information, so much misinformation out there. I blame a lot of it on our local media because our local media is calling this coronavirus, okay? The virus that we're fighting right now is a type of coronavirus, but it is COVID-19, okay? And there's nothing proven to kill it as of this time yet. There's some misinformation out there in manufacturers that have posted pamphlets or flyers saying that they have products that kill the coronavirus, right? My fear is that information, the lack of information out there, the misinformation of the media calling what we're worried about right now a coronavirus, which it is, but it's misleading. There is things out there that kill other types of coronaviruses, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that they kill the one that we're fighting right now. UV lights, chemical manufacturers, all kinds of different stuff. There's all kinds of different products out there. I have no problem. And again, I am nobody special. I'm just a dude that happens to be able to hit live on YouTube, okay? I don't have a problem with people selling things, but I do have a problem with people giving false information, especially on Facebook and different things like that. Maybe they're ignorant. Maybe they just don't know the difference. Maybe they don't mean to be incorrect. Maybe I'm reading them wrong, okay? I'm speaking to one person in specific. I don't know if you're watching or not. And no offense to the person. If you're watching, you know who I'm talking about, okay? No offense to you. It's just that there's a lot of misinformation out there. Manufacturers post flyers that say they kill coronavirus. Okay, but right now our media is calling what we're dealing with coronavirus, and it's not necessarily true. It's a type of coronavirus. So there's nothing out there that kills the one that we're worried about right now. My fear with that misinformation or that deceptive marketing or whatever you want to call it is that it's going to fuel the deceptive service technicians, the technicians that are going to go out there and tell your grandma that if I put this UV light in your air conditioner, your problems are going to be solved and you're not going to catch COVID-19, okay? That may be true. That may not be true. There's no proven science to say otherwise right now, okay? So do I have a problem with people selling UV lights and chemicals? No, but be honest about it. How about approaching them and saying, guess what? There's nothing that is proven to kill what we're dealing with right now, but this kills other things similar to it. Then I'd be okay with that. But I have a hard time with people that are pushing their products, chemical manufacturers that are going out there saying that they kill all these different types of things. And yes, you know, they may not be incorrect on their flyers that they post. They may be saying this particular product kills coronavirus. Yes, okay, it does kill a type of coronavirus. But unfortunately, our local or our media is saying that what we're fighting right now is called coronavirus. Even our own administration, politicians, and everybody are calling it the coronavirus. It's not the coronavirus, it's a coronavirus. There's multiple different strains, there's different types. And again, in no way am I a professional with any of that stuff. But I have such a hard time with the information that is being spread out there when it's not factual. And when I've gotten into more internet fights or arguments on Facebook and different things for reasons like this, because when I see someone saying this kills COVID-19, well, that's bullshit because it doesn't kill COVID, or you don't know that it kills COVID-19. I shouldn't say it doesn't. It's just not proven to kill it yet. So for someone to come out and say this solves your problem, that could be incorrect information. I even have to catch myself there, okay? There's no proven science yet. I'm not saying that maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But give that information, be forthcoming instead of feeding the deceptive service companies. We all know those big, giant, mega companies that, you know, feed on selling death to old people. Well, they're just seeing this as a field day, right? And that's what scares me because we don't know that those things are going to kill it. Now, if someone asked me, hey, what are the odds that you think this thing is going to help? Honestly, I'm going to say the odds are probably pretty good that some of these devices might help with it, but we don't know that for sure. So I can't go out there and say this solves your problem. No, this solves other types and maybe it'll solve this one, but I am not going to be that person that's going to go out there and try to sell death to your grandma or someone else. And I'm sorry, but shame on you if you're going to do that, okay? Because there's no sense in trying to profit from, you know, the fear mongering, I think is the right word or whatever. I mean, so anyways, I really haven't wanted to get political or anything like that on here, but that one is really irritating me right now. It's really, really driving me nuts. Okay. And I didn't even want to talk about this stuff, but it's just getting it. Okay. So, I have, a bunch of things to talk about. And as usual, I'm going to get to them. As usual, I'm going to get to the chat too. So please do me a favor. If you guys have things you want me to cover, put it in caps lock. We'll talk about it. Keep putting it in caps lock. Keep putting it in there because a lot of times, like when I go off on a rant, the chat just went by, 100 messages just went by and I haven't seen any of them, okay? So keep throwing them in there. I'll definitely try to get to them, okay? Let's see. What happened to the beard? Yeah, so I had to put on a face mask the other day, and I figured, you know what? What's the point of having a face mask on if I have a beard? So I just went in and shaved it off. Plus, my wife doesn't like the beard, so she was super happy. She doesn't like it, but she doesn't mind that I grow one. So as long as I keep it somewhat nice. I hate shaving, though. In general, I hate using a razor because I get the worst razor burn every single time. And I know people say, oh, yeah, it's because you don't shave enough. Trust me. It just keeps coming and coming. It's something about my skin. I get the worst razor burn in the world. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm going to make it clear right now, Blue On Energy, this is not a place for you to market your product, okay? I don't mind discussing your product, and feel free to send me an email and we can talk further. I know you guys have sent me an email, but you guys are not a sponsor, so please do not put your marketing material in my chat without asking, okay? And I'm going to be honest with you right now, Blue On. Watching you guys post your marketing material on someone else's stream, actually Zach's stream yesterday, I think, or the day before, and then, you know, that kind of frustrates me, okay? I haven't been answering your guys' emails because, honestly, you're just not a company that I want to work with right now, okay? So please stop putting your information in there, and you're not welcome to, okay? I have nothing against you guys at Blue On Energy, but things like that irritate me. And I do hold a grudge. And when people piss me off, I just blow them off. Okay. So that is not the way to go about posting things. Okay. So do not post your marketing material within my chat. I have no problem if you guys want to offer a solution to someone. You can feel free to send me an email, but do not post your marketing material in my chat. And thank you, Justin, for grabbing that. So, as far as Blue On, let's go ahead and discuss that. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about Blue On. I've never used their product. I do have to say they have an amazing app, but other than that, I don't use alternatives to R22. So I'm not saying that I'll never use an alternative, but I do have to say that if I was given the choice to use an alternative to R22, more than likely I would be using 407C and I would be doing an oil replacement, okay, or oil change in the system. That's my personal preference. I am not going to, but I can't talk crap about Blue On. I have nothing bad to say because I've never used their product, okay? I know that they've been targeting a lot of YouTube videos with their marketing. Yeah, I can't control that because all that I do is turn on monetization on my channel, and Blue On basically goes to YouTube and targets YouTube, you know, HVAC channels. So be it. But yeah, anyway, so I got nothing bad to say about it, and I don't want to talk crap about their product because I don't like to talk crap about anybody, especially if they haven't done me wrong as far as their product goes, okay? So, right on. Appreciate it, okay? Let's see. We'll go to get to chat right now. You think you should? Okay, Matt Gordon says you think we should start a GoFundMe for NorCal Dave to get a new van. NorCal Dave likes his van. I haven't watched his recent video. Is there something that I don't know about? I think I'm a video behind on Dave right now. So, but yeah, shaving is like torture. I can tell, Bill. I think the last time you shaved was when you were 2, Bill, because it seems like your beard has been growing since you were 2. All right, let's see. No, I am not playing hard to get with Blue On HVACR Tech. In fact, I mean, that's actually the absolute wrong way to go about it is to try to raid my stream. Ain't happening. So, be honest with you. Yeah, anyways, I'm not even going to go into that. So, the last 2 videos that I had, the kitchen AC split system was the one that I just released on Sunday. And before that, I had a makeup air unit making a loud noise. So let's go ahead and cover the makeup air unit making a loud noise. So lots of questions. And I do have to say that I've been a little distracted with some home projects and stuff, and I'm going to discuss that in a minute. So I have a lot of comments that I haven't responded to. Normally, I respond to all my comments, and there's hundreds and hundreds between the 2 videos that I've acknowledged them, but I haven't responded to them, and I will definitely try to get back with those. But the video where I had the makeup air unit, I had another service technician go out on an overtime service call, diagnosed that we had a bad bearing. Then I came in to verify and pulled the blower assembly, and at that point I had to make a decision. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into the decisions that I make in the field as far as rebuilding the blower assembly myself or taking it to get rebuilt. Certainly, I could have done it myself, but I had to look at a cost comparison. First off, I took the blower assembly off the roof, took it to a motor rebuilding shop, and they rebuilt it for me. They put on new bearing shaft, and usually they paint the blower assembly, but they didn't paint it this time. But new wheel, blower shaft, all that, bearings, all that crap. Now, I chose to go ahead and go through the motor rebuilder, okay? In that situation, I believe they were cheaper than what my labor would have been, but still on top of that, well, no, technically it probably wasn't cheaper because I had to have multiple people there to lift the assembly up and down. So I guess technically I probably could have rebuilt it, saved a little bit on labor, but it's about time management. You know, we got a lot of service calls going on and nobody knew that everything was going to shut down like it did. So, you know, I just chose to have it rebuilt. So I had a service tech go with me and we dropped it off the roof. Now we brought my equipment lift with us, but we didn't use it to get it off the roof because it was easy to lower it down with 2 people very slowly. I am very concerned about safety. Okay. Why do I use a lift? Especially when I brought the new assembly back. I could have lifted that by hand. I could have had 2 service techs on the roof and we could have roped that blower assembly up. I get comments either way. It doesn't matter if I use a rope, if I use a crane, if I use a lift. I get comments on all different sides. You have to understand, first off, I'm concerned about safety, cost to the customer, and sometimes if I even can get a crane. Okay. In that situation, I couldn't get a crane out there fast enough. There wasn't one available with the people that I used. So I decided to use my equipment lift. So I have a 24-foot Sumner equipment lift that has a winch on it basically, and you hand winch it and you can lift up 24 feet. And I was able to lift the blower assembly up onto the roof. Certainly, like I said, I could have lifted it by hand, but having 2 guys leaning over the side of the building, lifting with a rope just seemed like a liability to me. I've done it many times in my career. I've made many stupid mistakes. I wish I had some pictures. One of these days I'll come up with like storytelling about the stupid things that I did that I swore there was 2 instances that I can think of where I lifted things on a roof and I swore I would never do something like that again because it was so dangerous. And, anyways, so I chose to use my equipment lift, lifted the new one up, and it was pretty much a straightforward change out. We changed the motor because the bearings were going bad in the motor. I get a lot of feedback too on that. Why didn't I just change the bearings in the motor? Because it's not cost effective, guys. To pull a motor apart and then to warranty it, who's to say if there's not internal damage to the motor? Who's to say if the windings haven't been overheating? It's just as easy. For the price, just sell them a new motor. And I don't even bring it up to the customer because I'm not in the business to change bearings in a motor. If it was a giant motor, I might have it rebuilt or something. But on something like a 5 horsepower or below, it's honestly not really worth the headache to me to try to do bearings. It's just a pain in the butt, okay? Great question that I had on that video about the Make-A Bear unit was, what do I think caused the bad bearing? Okay, so we had a bad bearing in the motor, motor bearing going bad, and we also had a bad blower assembly bearing. Someone had brought up the point of possibly the pulley being damaged, causing the belt to stick in the pulley and putting extra drag on the bearings. And that is a very good possibility. In fact, I'd probably say we're pretty confident that might have been what happened with that thing. So because the pulley was worn out, the motor belt or the belt would get stuck in there and it would cause drag and cause it to put extra strain on the bearings. And that is a very good possibility. Okay, that does happen. Replacing pulleys is so important. That's why I say to use that pulley gauge. I was looking around to see if I had one. I don't have a pulley gauge in here, but those pulley gauges are critical. If you don't completely feel comfortable with diagnosing a bad motor pulley, I mean, it's really not that hard because they should be a V-shaped on the inside, but you can take that pulley gauge. There's a link in the show notes of this video. There's a link in the show notes of that Make-A Bear unit video. And you put the pulley gauge in there and it just tells you if a pulley's bad. It's super easy. But, you know, bad pulleys can be caused, in my opinion, by loose belts. If people aren't doing proper preventative maintenances, and this particular customer has been cutting back on preventative maintenances before the whole COVID thing, they did that to try to save some money. You know, loose belts can wear out pulleys and then it just leads to a cascade of problems. So a pulley on an AC unit, an adjustable sheave, exhaust fan, whatever, those are super easy sells. I mean, if you just take a pulley gauge and just go around, you could be selling those things all day long and there's nothing incorrect about doing it. Now, as long as you're honest with the customer and say, this pulley's starting to go bad, not you have to change it today, because they don't. If the belt's not getting stuck in it at the moment, it's just going bad. Now, there's also a test to see if you can get a belt stuck in a pulley. Again, I'll have to show that on a video, but essentially, if you take the belt off of the driven pulley, right, and just put it on the adjustable motor pulley and pull down on it really tight, straight, and then try to push the belt up, you'll feel resistance if the belt is getting stuck in the adjustable pulley. You'll feel it and you'll push up and you'll notice that, boom, it'll pop out. That's usually the sign of a belt that's getting stuck in a pulley, okay? But if it's not doing that yet, be honest with your customer and just say, hey, it's getting to the point that this is going to cause a problem. Let's change this before it becomes an issue. That's an easy sell on a preventative maintenance or on a service call. Just be upfront and honest. I can't stress honesty enough with your customers, okay? Be upfront and give them the options. So when I did that makeup air unit repair, I told the customer, the motor has a bearing going bad, but it is working fine right now. What do you want to do? And I gave them 2 quotes. Here's one with the motor. Here's one without the motor. And they chose to go for the one with the motor. Why? In my opinion, because they trust me. And I recommend that you do this so that way we eliminate this whole problem from any other issues. We're done with it. And they chose to go with the bigger repair. But I would have been perfectly fine if they chose to go without the motor. I put it in their hands and let them make the decisions. Document everything, then my ass is covered. All right, I'm going to focus on the chat real quick. And I'm going to, then I'll get to my next one. Over greasing of motors and pulleys. That's something that can be a problem too. There's all kinds of problems. Greasing a motor when it shouldn't be greased. Sometimes on some motors, they have an outlet on the bottom of the motor, usually on the bigger ones. So if you grease it, you can push the old grease out. But on some of the new motors, they have a grease zerk fitting on it, but it doesn't go anywhere. So you got to be careful about that. So let me see what I'm missing. Can I give any advice on a person starting an HVACR company? HVACR whiz. Wow. Starting an HVACR company. First off, if you're thinking about starting a company, you need to understand there's a lot more to it than just knowing how to fix things. You can be you can be the best service tech in the world and start your own company and fail miserably because you don't understand business. Okay. I am not an expert when it comes to running a company. I run a company with my dad, and I would not say we're the best owners in the world, okay? There's certainly many mistakes that we make on a daily, okay? My buddy Tersh Blissett over at the Service Business Mastery podcast does a lot with talking about businesses and starting businesses and showing his failures and his triumphs and different things. So I definitely suggest checking out my buddy Tersh over at the Service Business Mastery podcast. He can probably give you a little bit more advice on how to start a business, but there's a lot that goes to it, okay? I don't suggest that you just wing it and go for it because there's a lot of things that can fail. If you can, again, I'm not judging anybody for not doing this. Do your best to operate and run and start a company debt-free. I don't suggest leveraging your life to start a business because guess what? Let's say, for instance, you started a business in November, right? And you leveraged everything and you took out a bunch of debt and you bought a bunch of service trucks and you hired a bunch of service technicians and you started getting a bunch of service calls. That's great, right? You're doing good. You got sales, you got different things. But then COVID-19 hit. What are you going to do? You're in debt. You have a million different payments to make and you're screwed. Okay. It's scary. So you have to be prepared for the worst. And that's the scary thing about it. Okay. So send me an email. We can talk more about it, but definitely check out my buddy Tersh over at the Service Business Mastery podcast. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh yeah. So now the movie quotes are popping in. Did anybody get the song? Matt Gordon. Yes, the movie is Young Guns. Yeah. Yeah, the movie is Young Guns for sure. Good job, Matt. Did anybody get the song? The song was actually from Young Guns too. So, will I do a video series on training, like treating the camera as a guy you were training from scratch? That's an interesting idea, Dave or James. Yeah, definitely an interesting idea. Do me a favor and send me an email, James. Remind me about that and I'll write it down on a list of things. I always got huge lists and I always forget everything. So, let's see. How you doing, Ralph? My buddy Ralph in here. So this is the right way to approach something. Ralph is from Honeywell Refrigerants. Again, with the whole thing with Blue On. I don't know if you were in here when Blue On was trying to post stuff, Ralph. Ralph goes about things the right way. Ralph has never, ever tried to spam my chat. Ralph has always been invited to my chat. I do not work with Ralph, okay? But Ralph has always been forthcoming and willing to answer questions. He's emailed me on, not in a public forum and provided information to help me. So unlike the way that Blue On came into this chat and started posting their stuff, Ralph has always been a cool dude. So I have no problem promoting Ralph at Honeywell Refrigerants. So I put his email in there. Ralph has always been a really cool dude to answer questions, okay? And whenever I've had a question with different refrigerants, I reach out to Ralph and he always gets me information. And he's not he's not always I mean, he works for Honeywell Refrigerants, but he's not always pushing Honeywell down my throat. He gives me honest information. So if you guys have any alternative refrigerant questions, feel free to reach out to my buddy Ralph at Honeywell Refrigerants, and I just posted his email in the chat, okay? Let's see what else. Let me see. What am I missing? All right. What is my favorite brand of makeup air units and exhaust fans? HVAC Kid. My favorite brand of makeup air unit and exhaust fans, in all honesty, has to be Greenheck or Accurex. I work on a lot of captive air stuff too, but I haven't worked on a lot of no, I have. I've worked on a lot of Greenheck stuff, and their stuff seems to last. It seems to be pretty high quality, seems to be made with care. Again, I work on a lot of captive air stuff, and I don't want to talk crap, but I prefer the Greenheck stuff for sure over the captive air. Their makeup air units seem to be pretty straightforward. I think I have one or two of their really complex direct fired makeup air units. I think I have one, and it's actually rather easy to work on. Lots of stuff in it. I mean, the captive airs are nice too, but I just prefer the Greenheck or Accurex, same company. Let's see what else. Okay, I need to turn this off, so hang on just 1 second. I need to turn the timers off because I don't want these dang movies to keep popping up. We already got that covered. Let me turn off the movie quotes and the song quotes so they're not popping up every 2 minutes. All right, cool. So now I'm going to scroll back to this, and there we go. All right. I use Streamlabs as my streaming platform. It's Streamlabs for OBS, and they have a moderator bot and everything built into it, so it's super nice. And I know a couple of you guys have reached out to me about giving you tutorials or information on how I use Streamlabs or OBS, and I'll definitely get back with you guys. Rennie, Rick, and Ren, and a couple other people reached out to me too, and I'll definitely get that information to you. So draw some names and let's do another giveaway. Yeah, we could do that, Ralph. Let me see if I can do that. How many names do you want me to draw, Ralph? And you tell me in the chat. If I miss it, Justin, tell me how many names Ralph wants me to draw, just in case I miss it. Let's see. Yeah, we could use some positivity for sure. So let's see. Do I think airflow in an HVAC system is neglected? Yeah, boy. That is the number one underrated thing about an air conditioning system is airflow, okay? It's the most neglected thing in the world. We try to throw solutions at it. We think that just because we buy the biggest, baddest Carrier Infinity or Linux 27 SEER or whatever, that it's going to solve our problems. But if your ductwork is not up to date, it doesn't matter what you throw at it. It's still going to perform like a piece of crap. So airflow is very underrated. Tommy, thank you very much for that super chat. I really, really appreciate the super chat. But at the same time, please, guys, don't super chat any money that you guys don't have. We're going through a crazy time right now. Keep it to yourself unless you really, really feel the need. But again, I'm okay, guys. I really am. So please don't put yourself out there just to get a question answered or something like that. Feel free to just keep posting it in caps lock. If I don't answer it, I'll get to it, okay? Tommy, so your question is, how's everything going? You keep seeing Blue On refrigerant commercials on YouTube and was wondering what I think about it. Thank you. Take care. So, Tommy, I kind of talked about it a minute ago because they popped in the chat here and started posting propaganda, but I have no opinion about Blue On. I have nothing bad to say about them. I have heard negative things, but I'm not going to spread those negative things because I don't know that they're true. I've just heard things, okay? I've heard good things about them too, okay? But I have never used their product, so I cannot say that it's a bad product, okay? I have to say that if I was given the choice to use an alternative to R22, which at this point in time, I do not use any alternatives to R22. I just use strictly R22, okay? But if a customer came to me and said, we want you to use an alternative, personally, I would choose 407C and I would change the system oil over to polyester oil, okay? That's my personal preference and that's how I would approach that. But any questions, feel free to reach out to my buddy Ralph at Honeywell Refrigerants. He will always answer questions about different alternatives. Here we go. So there's Ralph's email again. Let's see if I can figure this out. Hold on just 1 second. And let me see if I can do, I don't know if I can do names importer. Yeah, that's one thing I do not know. I'm not set up to do names on my thing, like to do drawings or anything. So I'm just going to do this randomly as best as I can. So I'm going to go through here right now. Because he just asked a really good question. Tommy6312, I need you to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Okay. I will forward your information over to Ralph, and you'll be a winner. And then I'm going to go through the chat right now. Scott, HVAC rookie, send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and I will forward your information over to Ralph. I'm just going through here and stopping on names. Alexander Reno, send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. I will forward your information over, and I think I'm at 3 right now. LM Sylvia, send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and I will forward your information over. And we're going to pick one last one right now. And Weaver Maintenance, send me your email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and I will send your information over to Ralph. What Ralph's going to send you, I have no idea, but that should be 5 of you guys, so I'll expect emails and just say giveaway or something like that. All right, let's see what else we got. I have no idea, Adam McCombs. Ralph just said draw 5 names and he'll give something away. So let's see. Yeah, so, and great question, actually. So I have it on my list of things to talk about. I'm going to get to another one, but I'm going to talk about 448A right now. So I also had another comment from a past video. Someone said, why do I use 448A refrigerant so much? Okay. Well, if you guys don't already know, I live in the glorious state of California, and we have all kinds of restrictions. Now, these restrictions are also spreading across the rest of the United States. Soon they will be everywhere. But we are not allowed to use R404A, which has been the most popular medium temp and low temp refrigerant for the longest time as far as refrigeration goes. So there's a couple different alternatives, and R448A has been the choice of mine. Okay, 448A. There's another one, 449, and then there's some R22 retrofits, 407A, 407C, and I don't know. There's a couple other ones, but I have chosen 448A simply because we're just not allowed to use 404 anymore. 448A has been very good to me. This was before Ralph even came on. Ralph happens to work for Honeywell, who makes the 448A, but it had nothing to do with him. It's just a California law that started 2 years ago, and then actually there's several states within the United States that have the same laws that say you're not allowed to use 404A as a medium temperature refrigerant or a low temperature refrigerant on walk-ins, prep tables, and different things like that. That's also the reason why any of you guys that do restaurant refrigeration started noticing there's a crap ton of R290 and different things like that. Now, technically, you're still allowed to use 404A for repairs, but any major system retrofits, you got to get rid of the 404A and you're supposed to change over to different ones. I've been doing it on new installations mainly. I've been lucky enough to not have to do any major retrofits, and it's been new installations, and so we just, it's easy enough to change the gas over just to use 448A. So feel free to send me any emails if you guys have questions about 448A. I can forward them to Ralph, but Ralph can give you all kinds of information too. So let's see what I'm missing in the chat here. So have I ever worked on large centrifugal chillers type of guy? No, I have not. I only do restaurant refrigeration, so light commercial refrigeration is all I've ever done. I want to get to my next video thing real quick, and then we'll get to more of the questions in the chat. So the next video that I had was a kitchen AC split system with refrigerant leaks, okay? So that was an interesting one because it was kind of a mystery. I was called out to the restaurant, and because it was very difficult to get on the roof, I started at the air handler. These are heat pump units. It's a 15-ton split system. So right when I started on the roof, I noticed that, on top of the air handler, or with the air handler, I noticed that there was oil all inside the air handler. So I already had an idea that there was going to be a refrigerant leak. The customer's complaint was no cooling. They had an energy management system, recently installed an EMS thermostat or internet controlled thermostat, and they were actually the ones that called and said there was no cooling coming from the AC. I went up onto the roof and noticed that the unit was off on a type of lockout. In the past, we had compressor lockout boards. This is a type of a compressor lockout board, but it's a Emerson Comfort Link, I think, or something like that. Anyways, it locked out on short cycling. So went ahead, and again, I was assuming that we had a refrigerant leak. So I restarted the unit, and put my gauges on there and noticed that the refrigerant charge was a little bit low. I had a charging chart that was built into the unit, so I was using the charging chart, but it wasn't that low. In my opinion, it wasn't low enough to cause it to short cycle. So I went ahead and topped off the charge, did find the refrigerant leaks, but I feel like Kyle Wallace, thank you very much for becoming a member on my channel. That's very awesome, dude. So, but I honestly feel that the refrigerant leak was not the reason why I was called out there. Again, big picture, don't just have a one-track mind. You look at everything. And I think that because they had a new energy management system just installed like the previous week, that was the cause of the system short cycling. I have a feeling that in testing the system or playing with it, the energy management company had messed something up and caused the unit to short cycle. Now, while I was working on that unit, I happened to notice that I could hear condenser fan motors running on the unit behind me, but the compressors weren't running. At least it didn't sound like it. So I went over there, actually found an electrical short on that unit, but found it to be off on short cycle protection too. So that was interesting. And on that video, I had a couple comments of people asking me questions. Is this the perfect situation to use a leak stop, to use a leak sealer, to use whatever, insert name of leak sealer products in here? Personally, no opinion on you for doing so. I don't use any leak sealers or additives to the system. Okay. I have no interest in those. My personal opinion on leak sealers, leak stop, whatever you want to call it, is that once you put it in the system, it's just going to gum everything up. It's going to cause problems later on down the line. So sure, I've heard people say that they put it in a system that was going to be replaced and, all that. But I personally wouldn't want to do that. Now, if a customer came to me, and I have had customers come to me 2 times in the past and said, we want you to use one of these leak sealers that we heard about. In my opinion, they never made a difference. And I put them in there, but I warn the customer, you're going to have problems and la-di-da-di-da. But I'm just not a fan of leak sealers, so I'm not going to go that route. I'm either going to try to repair the leaks, or I really don't even, if that unit has to be replaced, it's going to have to be someone besides me, because I don't have the capability of changing that unit out with the crew that I have, and it's just going to be a nightmare to change that air handler out. It's in a very, very crappy location, so I might change the evaporator in the air handler, or maybe just weld on the leaks, but I can't see changing that out. I'm not set up to do that kind of work. I'm not set up to take on a mega construction job like that where I'm working with, that would bring in a general contractor who would do ceiling grid, take down, sprinklers. It would just be a nightmare of headaches and different things like that. So that one's not going to be on me, but I'm going to recommend to the customer that they make the repair and see where they go with that. Let me get to the chat and see what I'm missing. As far, let's see, Cuckoo 215, as far by set of gauges for which type of refrigerant would you recommend for this field that handle R22? I really, really like the Field Piece S-Man series gauges. There's the S-Man 360 and the S-Man 380 and the S-Man 480 are the 2 different new digital manifolds. In my opinion, you do not need to have separate sets of gauges for all different refrigerants. You can use them the same. I would strongly suggest that you look into the Field Piece gauges. I got nothing to do with Field Piece other than having a good relationship with them. I have nothing bad to say about Testo products. I've never used them, okay, but I've used the Field Piece gauges for a very long time, and I like them a lot. So I would suggest the Field Piece ones. All right, let's see what else. Yeah, definitely. Questions in caps. See what I'm missing in here. So it said, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Iglauser. Sorry. Thank you. You got into HVAC installation. Thanks for everything and keep doing what I'm doing. Right on, bud. I'm just trying to share the little bit of knowledge that I have. And I just realized something. I usually try to take that chair out of my office, and I left it right there. Huh, that's funny. All right. So let's see what else I'm missing in here. Yeah, leak sealer just hasn't worked, and I just don't want to use it if I don't have to. So it's good to see you in here, Marat. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name. I think it is, because I think I'm friends with you on Facebook, but I think it's Marat. I know you're local to me. Marat has a YouTube channel too. He has some pretty cool videos where he just has music playing in the background and he just shows his work. So Marat RPM SoCal, just click on the 3 dots next to his name and I'm sure you'll be able to go to his channel. But yeah, I've watched his videos for a very long time. Have I ever seen an AC without water level sensor for the drain pan? Yeah, Baxter Jones. I've seen lots of them. I mean, it's best to install secondary drain pans and float switches and different things to shut off if the unit overflows, but I've seen plenty without them. I believe code, I'm not a residential guy, but I believe code is that you have secondary drain pans in most areas. So it's a smart thing to do. Definitely please hit the thumbs up, guy. I really appreciate it. It helps the stream out. So how do I know when a belt is properly tightened? What's the amount of slack you should have? Sterling Archer. Well, there's actually belt gauges. Browning makes them. Different people make them. If you look sometimes in my video show notes, I don't have one with me right now. And frankly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't use a tensioning tool. It's not correct, okay? And this is actually going to segue into something else. I just tighten up the belts because I honestly feel like I know where the proper tension is. I've been told by many people that can be incorrect, but I just tighten up a belt until I feel comfortable with it. I know that you can over tighten a belt. You can ruin bearings and motors, and I just feel like I know where it's at. I know that is not correct, okay? But there is belt tension tools that you can use. I have one. I honestly don't use it, but it's a deflection tool. Basically, it pushes down on the belt, and it has little rubber bands, and you mark, and you just use the manufacturer's specs, and they tell you how much deflection they want on that belt for it to work properly, okay? Different manufacturers have different specs. And then there's also generic rules to it. But just look up belt deflection tool, Sterling, and it will give you the information. And then you got to look at the manufacturer's installation guides. And usually in the installation guides, they have deflection rates at what they want the belt. So basically you take the center point of the driven pulley to the motor pulley, and you find out the measurement. And then depending on that length, there's going to be a certain amount of deflection that you're supposed to have. And it helps you to set the belt correctly. Let's see what else. How do you find the air balance for residential? You want to know the air balance on your house. Ford Mechanic 9183. So the air balance on your house is honestly, it's going to be a difficult thing for you to find, because if your system never had a proper load calculation with a proper airflow calculation, then you're not going to know how your system was designed to operate. There's some rules of thumb that you can go by. But the air balance numbers, you're going to have to use a flow hood or a vane anemometer, a true flow grid, different things like that, and you can measure the airflow. But you're inevitably going to have to use probably a flow hood at the supply grills in each room, and you measure the airflow coming out of that supply grill, which should be calculated by an airflow calculation when you do a load calculation for your house. Now, I don't do residential, but I can't think of what it's called. There's a name for the load calculation where you calculate the airflow and the duct sizes. I'm sure someone will chime in the chat. If I don't answer any of your questions enough, feel free to send me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com, okay? Let's see what else. Funniest thing done on a call. I got an interesting one. Comes to mind right now. So I was working at a chain restaurant many years ago, probably 10 years ago or something like that. And it was a Hvacr reach-in. It was a reach-in prep table, a tiny one. It was probably like a 27-inch box, and it had a Hvacr pan chiller, the old school style with just the fan motor in the top. And it had a drain, and those drains would plug up all the time. So I was blowing out a drain, and I was standing in the pan chiller blowing out. There was 2 drains in the pan chiller. I was blowing out the one under the fan motor, and the manager happened to walk over, and he was standing next to me, and this happened to be their fish reach-in. And as I blew out the drain, nothing happened. And then I hit it again, and this is also why you don't use nitrogen, but I hit it again, and it released, and it blew shrimp guts all over the manager and myself, to the point that the manager, he was covered in freaking shrimp. It was nasty. That was all the crap down the drain. And he actually left. He's like, I gotta go, man. And he left and went to Mervin's at the time. That's how many years ago it was. Went to Mervin's and bought new clothes, and then came back to work and just left the restaurant the way that it was. That was a pretty funny one when I blew shrimp all over the manager. All right, let's see what else. Really appreciate it, Ralph. Yeah, I'll send you the winners. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. All right. Yeah, no worries, Ralph. You're always welcome. All right, let's see. What do I think is better, digital manifold or Bluetooth probes? Jessica, I have them both. And honestly, I know you don't want to hear this, but they both serve a really good purpose for me. If you were doing refrigeration, you're going to find a need for gauges and smart probes. If you're doing residential air conditioning, in my opinion, again, I don't do it every day, but I would probably operate with just smart probes. I'm a fan of the Fieldpiece Joblink probes, and I would probably be running with the Joblink probes if I was doing residential only, and probably not use a manifold for the most part. But there's times that a manifold's convenient. You know, sometimes when it's raining or it's really hot outside, you just don't want to get out all that crap. And a manifold gauge set, again, when I'm being lazy, is just nice sometimes. You just throw it up, everything's right there. You know, but I do, there's nothing wrong. The field piece job link probes can be in rain. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just sometimes it could be a little hard to set everything up and get your tablet out and try to do everything, you know, with the job link probes. So, but if I was doing resi, I'd probably be leaning on the job link probes myself. Let's see what else. Your first credit card, HVACR tech. My first credit card was Pacific Sunwear at the time was my first credit card. So Mervin's closed when I was a kid. Well, when I was a teenager. All right. Let's see what else. Okay, I'm going to get to my list of things to talk about. So I already talked about the misleading marketing. Really great question that I had. Actually, I have on here right now too. I've been noticing, again, you know, Sporlan is a sponsor of my videos, right? They really don't have anything to do with my live streams, but they're a cool group, and I really do like Sporlan. But I've been noticing they've been posting a lot of really cool videos on their YouTube channel. And they're not like service call videos, but they've been doing supermarket refrigeration videos. Now, for those of you guys like me that do light commercial refrigeration, you may think, why do I need to watch a supermarket video? But they're going over like their old supermarket seminars that they used to do. And there's a lot of valuable information in those. So I highly, highly suggest that you guys go over and subscribe to Sporlan's YouTube channel and check out their supermarket series videos that they've been doing. Their most recent, I mean, all their videos on there are cool. Sporlan has a lot of great information, but they have really cool information on there, and it's very relevant, even if you're doing residential air conditioning, because the basics behind refrigeration apply to air conditioning and everything. So check out Sporlan's YouTube channel. I have that on here because I wanted to remind you guys, it's a great channel and they have a lot of good information. Okay, so please, the more support you guys give them, the happier they are. Obviously, the longer they'll continue to work with me, the longer I'll be able to provide the content that I am. So Sporlan is a great group of people. And the one thing I really do like about Sporlan, I say this every single time, is they don't ask me to sell snake oils, okay? They don't ask me to push products that I don't believe in. And in all honesty, I don't think they really create anything that I don't believe in. I've gotten a lot of questions about why I haven't used the Zoom lock, just because it doesn't really relate to my restaurant refrigeration stuff. It's not really meant for the tight little reach-ins and stuff like that I work on. I do have some walk-ins that I mentioned that I would be using this. I could potentially use the Zoom lock on. Those have all been put on hold because of the whole COVID virus. So I still have the walk-in equipment sitting at my shop. We just haven't installed it yet. So maybe we'll use the Zoom lock when that time comes. But I really do like Sporlan. They have a lot of great products. So let me see what I'm missing. Supermarket techs are killing it at the moment. Yeah, supermarket techs are definitely not stopping with work. They're busting their asses right now, work as usual. So let's go ahead and talk about this, because a lot of people have asked in the stream and I've noticed. So how am I doing? First off, COVID is affecting everybody, okay? If it's not affecting you, it's going to affect you tomorrow. I mean, in one way, even the supermarket guys, it's going to start affecting them in a weird way too. It comes around on everything, okay? So I run a small service company with my father. We have 3 other service technicians, so we have 4 trucks out there, including my own, okay? All 3 of my service technicians are sitting at home, okay? They turned in their vans, and they're just sitting at home. There's nothing that we can do right now because we're not getting enough service calls, okay? I have gotten a few service calls. Like today, I ran 2 service calls. I have 2 to run for sure tomorrow. But last week, I did 2 service calls all week, okay? It's affecting my company crazy, right? The restaurants right now, even though they're still open for to-go and they can sell that to-go, but they can't have people in the dining rooms, they're not breaking things, okay? It's only emergency calls. They're not doing preventative maintenance. This has hit me so hard, it's not even funny, okay? Just like you guys. I'm not trying to make myself better than anybody. We're struggling. We're doing our best. We're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm more concerned about the mental stuff that's going to come from this. I've been very forthcoming with my mental issues, anxiety, depression, that kind of stuff. I worry about people. I think about that instantly. I think about that every day. A lot of people are probably going to have a hard time. And if it hasn't hit them yet, it's going to hit them soon. When the economy starts tanking and everything's going down, and I don't want to get all sad and dreary, but I worry about people's mental stuff, okay? Because this is real. I strongly suggest, and I said this on the last one too, that you talk to someone. I am not a therapist. I am not someone to advise you on anything. Okay. I'm just a stupid guy that hits record on YouTube. But I do know that I was lucky that I had someone to talk to. I was lucky that I was able to go to my wife, and I was lucky that I made the decision to go see a therapist and talk to a therapist. Trust me, don't wait. If you guys are in a place where you feel like you're getting angry and anxious and everything, go talk to a therapist, talk to your wife, talk to a friend, talk to anybody. Definitely want to lean on a doctor, someone that knows what they're doing. But if you don't have a doctor, lean on a friend, okay? I said this the last time in the last stream. Feel free to send me an email. Again, I can't give you medical advice. I can't tell you about depression or anything, but sometimes you just need your email read, okay? Send me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Feel free to send me an email. And if you just need to be heard, I got no problem with that. I can read an email, okay? Hell, I did this last time too, 909-238-9094. That's my Google Voice number. That doesn't go, that goes to my cell phone, but that's not my normal cell phone number, but you can leave a voicemail if you just need someone to hear what you got to say. Go for it. Feel free, okay? I'm not a doctor. I strongly suggest you talk to a doctor, but sometimes it just takes one person to listen. If you just need someone to listen, leave me a voicemail. Send me a text message. Send me an email, okay? This is going to get hard for a lot of people. Don't bottle it up and not talk about it. Talk to someone. That's the most important thing. So how am I doing with it all? I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time. I'm anxious. I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm worried about a lot of things. Now, I know 100% sure that and I'm not bragging, but I can go get a job. I can get a job. I can work for anybody. If something happened and this doesn't work with my company and we can't keep it going, I can get a job. But it's the people that work for us. It's my father. It's my family. There's a lot of people involved. And that's what that puts stress on me. That makes me worry. Because if I'm not here working and I'm working somewhere else, then I'm not the backbone in supporting things. And again, I'm not trying to make myself better than anybody. I'm not, okay? I'm just a normal dude. But so that stuff hits me, and it hits me hard. I know that everybody has a story. I know that everybody has something they're worried about. Talk to someone, okay? I vocalize my feelings, my opinions to my family, to my wife, my aunt, my dad. I vocalize everything. I've realized that it's not worth bottling anything up, okay? I've become this person that shares way too much about myself. I like the pendulum swung the other way. I used to bottle everything up and not talk about anything and hide my feelings. And I'm the polar opposite, man. I'm an open book when it comes to why I am all kinds of things. Okay. I'm not even going to get into that on the live stream, but I'm very vocal because it's so easy just to let it all out. Okay. So share your thoughts and everything with people. Don't bottle them up. Okay. So, we're struggling. Okay. Service calls are down to nothing. All right. We've got multiple vans parked in our shop. I've got 2 vans that we're making payments on. They're just sitting there. It sucks, but it's life. We're all going through it. Don't feel like you're alone. Everybody's struggling in their own different way. It's affecting us all. HVACR tech Ren says he's been walking. See, that's been big for my wife. My wife is a gym person. She goes to the gym every single day. And she hasn't been able to go to the gym. And so she's been going out and walking around the block multiple times a day. Unfortunately, it started raining last night and it's supposed to rain for the rest of the week. So I worry about my wife because she's going to be stuck at home. I get to go to work, right? I get to come in my office and interact with you guys and send emails and different things, but she doesn't have an outlet other than the gym. So you got to find something, stay active. Me, I'm like I love to sit down and watch movies. That's my relax time. Sit down and watch movies and relax and interact in emails and different things. So, let's see. Ernesto, you said you're working out early morning and late night to help with the situation. That's a great idea. Ernesto is HVACR vlogger. He has a YouTube channel too. Whatever you got to do to get your stuff out. Okay. So me, for instance, I'm going to talk about this because this is on my list to talk too. I've been trying to keep myself busy. Last week I said I got 2 service calls. I sat at home for the entire week. Normally I go out every day. That was hard for me. And I remember talking to my wife Friday and I was like, how do you do this? Because she works at night, but she stays home during the day. And I'm like, I've been home for 3 days straight and I'm going crazy. How do I do this? So I found a project. And you know the refrigerator that I did the experiment on, the propane refrigerator that I put 134A in it to prove that it wouldn't work? I fixed that thing over the weekend. Went ahead and put R290 back in it, and I had this Ketatherm Temp Plus Defrost Ketatherm Evap Efficiency controller. Big giant, I posted on Instagram, big giant controller that's meant to control a walk-in. The damn thing can launch a space shuttle. I put it on that reach-in, and I'm going to throw a video out because Saturday and Sunday, all day long, I was outside working on this refrigerator. I kept myself busy. I was doing a project. Luckily, I have something. For me, I like to take things apart. I like to fix things. So if I can't get out to work, I'm going to go in my backyard and I'm going to fix a refrigerator. All weekend, I was working on this thing, setting it up. So it has full remote monitoring on it now. I can monitor it from my computer. I can't pull it up right now because I didn't set it up like that. But I can pull it up. I can see the defrost. I can see graphs. I have a pressure transducer on it. I can see suction pressure, all the temperatures, evap temp, air temp. I can see outdoor air temp because it's in my garage. I just find stuff to do. That's how I keep busy. So that video will be coming soon. I still have plenty. Well, I shouldn't say plenty. I probably got another 6 videos maybe of video material that I can edit down and make normal videos. So I'm okay on video footage. So I'll keep the videos coming, 2 videos a week is the plan. I might have to start getting creative after that, but I still have video material. So that'll definitely still be coming for you guys. So, all right, let's see. Do I think the government SBA loans are good for small HVACR businesses? Superior. That is a great question. Okay. So the government in the United States, for those of you that are out of the States, we've got these SBA loans, small business something or other loans. There's a lot of weird information. Honestly, they're very hard to understand. And I've been doing so much research on these SBA loans because basically they're loans that there's so many different rules and different things, and there's so much misinformation too. But the gist of it is they're willing to loan you money. They're willing to say you don't have to pay it back if you use it for these certain things, such as keeping your employees on staff or rehiring past employees, paying rent, doing these different things to kind of keep the economy going. We applied for one. We haven't received any funds from one, but do I think they're good? I don't know because they threw them out there so fast. There's not enough information to say. We don't even know what the rules are. All right. There's a lot of information, but there's conflicting information from reputable sources too. So you got one good reputable source and you have another, and they're both saying different things. So I don't know whether it's good or not. We haven't taken any money from the government, but we did apply. Whether or not we're going to use it or not, I don't know. Once we find out the stipulations and what the rules are, maybe. Is that a solution? No, it's a temporary Band-Aid. I mean, it's not going to keep us going for 6 months. No, it's not that kind of money. What's the correct way to set an EPR valve and a CPR valve? Well, Matt Gordon, honestly, the EPR valves, I got to be very careful because I don't work on evaporator pressure regulators, but I can say the general gist of an EPR valve is you want to look at your saturated suction temperature that you want your evap to maintain. And I believe you're going to set your EPR at your saturated suction temperature that you want to maintain in your evaporator. But I am not an expert when it comes to EPRs. Now, CPRs, crankcase pressure regulators, those are super easy. Essentially, you start your system up with the CPR valve completely open, right? It's on the suction line going back to your compressor. And what you do is that is kind of like a valve that's going to throttle the refrigerant back to the compressor. The whole point of a CPR valve, crankcase pressure regulator, is to reduce the amount of refrigerant velocity or volume going back to the compressor on hot pull downs. So you get that walk-in box. Let's just say you can get it to 90 degrees and you turn your system on and then you crank down the CPR valve until your compressor is at the proper run load amps. So the CPR valve throttles the refrigerant flow when it's under a high load condition. Situations where you might use that, a CPR valve is on a hot pull down or maybe on a system that has lots of hot product coming in to cool it down, blast chillers and things like that, where you don't want the compressor to get overloaded with refrigerant. Because if you have a lot of suction gas coming back because it's really hot in your box and your expansion valves are wide open, you're going to flood back to your compressor and you're going to overload your compressor. The CPR valve slows that refrigerant down and brings the pull down to a slow time. Now, on a blast chiller too, you have to be careful because you got to talk to a manufacturer of a blast chiller because those things are manufactured to pull down hot food. And if you put a CPR valve on a system where it's not supposed to be there, then you could hinder the pull down time of a blast chiller. Blast chillers are supposed to bring product temperature down like super quick versus a walk-in cooler that's technically supposed to maintain product temperature. It's not meant to really cool product down unless it was engineered that way, okay? But EPR valves, I'm not an expert, so I'm sure some guys are chiming in here. I can guarantee you that in the Commercial Refrigeration for Air Conditioning Technicians by Dick Wers, he covers how to set EPR valves. That's evaporator pressure regulating valves, okay? Let's see what I'm missing here. Yeah, and another great thing too, reach out to Sporlan, sporlan.com, and they will have the information on the EPR valves and the CPR valves within their tech literature. It's super easy, okay? Definitely do that. All right, let's see what else I got going on in here. What am I missing? You ended up cleaning and detailing your service van. I haven't cleaned and detailed my service van. I'm actually in a new service van. I did it like 2 weeks before. No, I was setting it up when the president declared the national emergency. I was setting up a new service van. So I'm in a brand new van. I haven't done a video on it yet. There's a few things that are different from my other van, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same as my last van tour. But I do plan on doing a video on that too. So that'll come up. If I haven't said it already, I don't think I did. I posted my first video to my tools channel, HVACR Tools. There's a link in the show notes of this video. Do me a favor and go subscribe to that channel. Lots of information in there. Not lots. There's one video right now. I did the work pant video. The next one's going to be thermal imaging cameras, and then I have all kinds of ideas after that. So the tool review channel, HVACR Tools. What's the info for the brush I use to clean ice machines? Brandon Thorstad. It's a Grainger part number. Do me a favor and send me an email, Brandon, and I'll get you the Grainger part number. I get it from Grainger's. I think it's a 36-inch brush, and it's a 1-inch diameter. And, yeah, 2 for flinching, right? See, when I was a kid, I think that became like a racist thing now, right? But when I was a kid, that was 2 for flinching. If you showed that to your friend, you got to punch him 2 times. Or no, that wasn't 2 for flinching. You just got to punch him if you looked at it, right? I don't know what that was called, but I think it's like a racist thing. I don't mean it in any racist way. I don't believe in all that crap. What kind of mic is this? This is a Rodecaster Pro. No, Rode Procaster. I always get confused because I use a Rodecaster Pro as my mixing board too. So this is a Rode Procaster. Yeah, Procaster microphone. It's a little big. In all honesty, sorry, that was probably loud. The sock kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I took that off, but it's a pop filter. It kind of gets in the way. Let's see what else. What am I missing in here? Don't forget to subscribe to my other HVACR tools. Yeah, please do. Please do. How do I find rated RLA if only LRA is given? TJK HVACR. The manufacturer should have information available online. What I would highly suggest you do if you haven't done it already, Tecumseh has a mobile app that you can download, and so does Copeland. Copeland is called Copeland Mobile. You can find out all kinds of information about their compressors. Very, very important information. You can find part numbers and everything. Just before I went live on here, there was a comment that I made on YouTube because someone asked about a liquid injection valve being used. It was actually Isaiah. I don't know if he's in here or not. But there was actually a liquid injection valve being used. Yeah. Justin, who is Andrew J? He's okay, bud. He can post whatever he wants in here. That's my brother-in-law. So, Andrew, he did that because he didn't know who you were, but it's okay, Justin. You can unhide him if you can. It's all good. I don't mind what Andrew posts in here. Let's see what else. I totally got sidetracked there. Am I letting my guys take the calls or am I taking the few calls? Mr. Ice, it's gotten to the point that no, my guys are better off collecting unemployment right now. So my guys are collecting unemployment and I'm taking the few calls that are coming in because you have to think about it as a business sense. When the business is struggling, obviously I have to take the calls. So really appreciate it, Daryl Kid. Thanks for coming in. The best Sporlan product is the Smart Tool First Edition K Services. So that's another thing too. Actually, I've never used the first edition of the Smart Tool, but I actually have the second edition, the Smart Pro R tools. So I'm going to be doing a tool review on those too. So, and I'll be honest with them too. So those will be coming. Let's see what else. Let me see. That ain't bad. You're using an Amazon mic right now. Yeah. So, favorite beer opener. Right here. It's a little Sam Adams beer opener that I got at a golf tournament. That's my favorite beer opener, so I got nothing fancy. All right. Am I going to rehire them when this is all settles down? Definitely. When work picks back up, I'll give my guys the opportunity for sure. Want to take care of my guys as much as possible. I have good guys working for me, and I definitely want them to stay working, but want to look out for their best interest too. All right. Boot review is something that I've talked about, so why don't I start a podcast? Because I don't feel like I have enough cool stuff to talk about. So, and honestly, I don't feel like I just want to take these videos and post them on a podcast. Sorry, hold on just a sec. The pops are bothering me, so I had to put the pop filter back on. I can hear it in my ears when it's popping, so I worry that you guys are hearing it in your ears. Does anyone else have terrible luck with the Tecumseh app? No, Big Nate. That's interesting. What kind of bad luck do you have, Big Nate? Send me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. I mean, I just use it mainly for part numbers, so that way I can find out what I need. What's the info? Oh, yeah, so Brendan, send me an email about hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and I'll get you the information on that brush, okay? Why don't I start a podcast? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to get to my list of things to talk about. Really important. I've said this in a couple different videos. I got lots of good YouTube comments about it. I do not agree that people should be wearing headphones when they're working on the job. There's so much that you're missing if you're wearing headphones, okay? Unless you're working in rooms where you need to protect your ears. Number one priority is your ears. So if you're working in mechanical rooms and different things like that, you get a pass. Put on something on your ears, okay? But if you're working, doing preventative maintenances on a roof and there's not horrendous noises, wearing headphones is going to hurt you because you're not being good at your job. If you're wearing headphones, you're missing things. You're missing what's going on. You're not listening to the sound. You're not hearing the unit across the roof. When I was working on the roof in my kitchen AC split system that wasn't working, I heard the condenser fan motors running behind me on the unit, but I didn't hear a compressor. It was a sound that I recognized, and I was able to go back there and say, hey, this unit's not working because I was not wearing headphones. In my opinion, headphones are a bad thing to wear when you're doing preventative maintenance or normal service work. All right. You need to be able to focus on your job and pay attention to what's going on. Same thing when you're driving down the road. You don't want to put headphones on because then you can't hear the fire truck coming behind you, okay? Listen to stuff on your radio. Get a little Bluetooth dongle and play it on your radio. Don't put headphones on because then you shut out the world and you don't get to hear everything around you. Preventative maintenances can be redundant. They can be boring because it seems like you're doing the same thing every single time. But each time you do a preventative maintenance, your brain is listening and storing things, and your mind will actually pick up on things. So the next time you come, you're like, wait a minute, something's off. That sound is weird. I don't normally hear that sound because you've been doing that same maintenance so many times, and you start to recognize things, okay? Big picture diagnosis. Use your senses, take the headphones off, and just do your job. Leave the headphones in the truck unless you're working in somewhere where you need to really protect your ears, okay? Let's see what else. Would I consider doing residential work? Yeah, Steve asks. I would definitely consider doing residential work. I don't have the insurance, the liability insurance to work residential because commercial is a different type of insurance. But if it came down to it, I would do whatever I have to do to protect myself and my family, right? So if I had to get into residential, I would go that path, okay? I'm not really set up for that. I'm not an installation company, and I'm the worst salesman in the world because I'm over here saying don't sell them freaking snake oils and UV lights and different things with false pretenses, okay? So I'm not a good salesman. I wouldn't be like these giant mega companies that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars or service techs, because they're salesmen. I'm not a salesman whatsoever. I'm a guy that fixes things and gives real, honest solutions. So let's see what else. Any difference between restaurant refrigeration and laboratory refrigeration equipment? So the difference between restaurant and laboratory is the tolerance levels. I used to do work for a hospital where I worked on a bunch of pharmaceutical refrigerators, and basically they would buy these restaurant refrigeration, like they would buy a true two-door glass unit, just like a standard bottle cooler that you'd see in a 7-Eleven, right? And then all of a sudden you'd look at it and you say, that's just a true refrigerator, but it has a laboratory scientific name on it. The manufacturers would buy these true refrigerators or beverage air or whatever, insert manufacturer name here, and they would slap in some special controls. And oftentimes the condensing units would be oversized, okay? Because they meant to have very low differentials on the evaporators. So the biggest difference between laboratory equipment and restaurant refrigeration equipment is the differentials on the set points and the tolerance levels at which the equipment is designed. Okay. So basically they might have a 1 degree differential. So the temp control is going to come on when the air temp in the box gets 1 degree above set point. And then it's going to turn, like, there's no room for a 3 or 4 degree differential like we have on most restaurant refrigeration units. So on a restaurant refrigerator, like a medium temp, we have usually a set point of 40 degrees, and then it pulls the evaporator air temperature down to 34 degrees, and then it ranges from 34 to 40. On a laboratory or a scientific unit, you're going to see pulls down to 34, turns back on at 35, 34, 35, 34, 35. And oftentimes on some equipment, they might even have like a hot gas bypass to where the compressor never shuts off and it just runs all the time. And then they inject hot gas in there and the temp control shuts a solenoid valve down and it just runs and runs and runs. So that way it doesn't have a high inrush current when it starts up. They also do some of that stuff in like supermarket and things like that, but it really depends on what's being stored in there. So yeah. All right. Let me see what I'm missing here. Answered that one. Let me see. Yama. Okay. Cherry Creek Refrigeration. Are you in here right now? I see someone mention you. I watch his videos. If you guys don't already, Cherry Creek Refrigeration. I think he's in. Are you in like Colorado or Utah or something like that? I watch his videos. Pretty cool. I think he doesn't have a lot of videos, but he has a few videos on there. Let's see what else I'm missing in here. What did I miss? Any questions I missed, guys? Throw them back down in the chat again, down in the bottom, okay? Let me see what I'm missing. So something that I noticed today. So I went to work today at a major chain restaurant, okay? And I noticed something that I don't feel like the restaurants, for not all, but some restaurants, I'd say majority of the people out there in the public are not taking these requirements and restrictions and safety protocols very seriously. So the first thing I noticed, I got there before the restaurant got there. I got there before the managers got there. The employees pulled up. The first thing, 2 employees got out of their cars, separate people, went up, gave each other hugs, said hi, talked to each other. And it's like, wait a minute, what about this whole social distancing thing and not making body contact? I'm torn about that, guys, because as a kid and to this day, in my mind, authority is correct. Now, I realize there's different opinions about things. I realize that some people feel like, this is being overblown, and that's your opinion. Good for you. I am ingrained to trust in authority. Okay. So when authority tells me to do something, I do it. And sometimes I hear stuff on the other side and it makes me think twice. So I'm torn. Are we being too strict or are we not strict enough? What do you guys think in the chat? I feel like we're not being strict enough. I feel like this is real, personal opinion, but everybody's entitled to an opinion. I'm not going to judge you otherwise. I mean, I know maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we're not doing this. And I've noticed that the whole day that I was working that people aren't taking this very seriously within the restaurants. Don't want to throw people under the bus. I mean, but yeah, it's kind of scary. What's the funniest, to my definition, service call fault that I have been to? Service call fault. Service call fault. That's an interesting one. Yes, I have, Ren, stepped on a Lego barefoot. That sucks. What is the funniest service call fault? Oh, I can tell you right now. The funniest service call fault. I had a service call, and it was a callback. I've said this before. It was my fault. I had a new apprentice that just started with me, maybe for like 2-3 weeks, and we had a service call at a local hospital morgue. And I talked him into, because it was a morgue in the hospital, they did things differently. So if you ever had to change something, they wanted to be 100% sure. So they had one bad evaporator fan motor, but this unit had 5 evaporator fan motors or something. So this type of customer, they were very cautious about things. So if you had one bad, they just wanted to change them all. So we had 4 or 5 evaporator fan motors on a reach-in cooler. It was a 4-passenger morgue cooler. There was nobody in it when we went to work on it. And so we changed 4 evaporator fan motors. Well, I got a call at 2 a.m. that night that said there's a god-awful burning smell coming from that 4-passenger morgue cooler. Long story short, I told my apprentice, I handed him the motors and I said, change them. I gave him the wrong voltage on the motors. So It was a 208 volt system, and I gave him 115 volt motors. So he installed them. They made it halfway through the night. We left at like 4 o'clock. They called me at like 2 in the morning, said it burning smell, all this stuff, told them to get the passengers out of the cooler. We went back out there by the time I gathered up the motors and it was like 4 in the morning, I picked up the apprentice. I called him up and said, we need to go back. And we went back. And as I was driving there, I kind of had a feeling. I knew what it was. And we got there, and sure enough, we put the wrong voltage motors in there. And that particular hospital customer, they were very understanding, and they all laughed. They thought it was the funniest thing. But I worked for them for another like 6 or 7 years after that. And for that entire 6 or 7 years, they always brought that up to me, that burning smell. And that 4-passenger morgue cooler, no joke, still had a burning smell when I stopped working with them. That burning smell was ingrained into the wall of that box, and it was because it was my fault. I gave the apprentice the wrong voltage motors, and he installed them, and it was our fault. So that's probably one of the funniest things. That one made me laugh. So let me see what I'm missing here. Let me see. You think the level of distance is right? And I'm touching my face. I know it. I washed my hands before I came in my office. Currently it's at 7%. Yeah, definitely, man. What are those books behind me? Lots of books back there. The most important book, there's 2 books in there that I recommend to everybody, and that's the Copeland refrigeration manuals. I show them all the time. If you can find these, you can find them on download. If you just go to Google, you can find the Copeland refrigeration manuals. But as I was in trade school, these were the manuals. These are also from like they started in the 60s and the 70s, but they've been revised a bunch of times. But you can see like right here, this one has refrigerant line sizing, and I have bookmarkers here from when I was in trade school where we learned all the different things. But this is a great manual for learning refrigeration or air conditioning. And then the best book of all the ones behind me is Commercial Refrigeration for Air Conditioning Technicians by Dick Wurz. There's a link, an Amazon link in the show notes of this video. If you haven't already purchased that book, lots of great information. That has to be the best air conditioning and refrigeration book. And to put icing on the cake, I met Dick Wurz at the Orlando AHR show this last January, February. I got to sit down and have a beer with him at dinner. He's one of the nicest people that I could ever imagine meeting. And, you know, as someone that I looked up to, that's a really smart dude. Everything that I thought of him was, you know, I was super happy that I got to meet him. It was like everything that I expected it to be. Very nice, very humble guy, very polite. I also got to hear him speak at the HVACR training symposium by Brian Orr. Steve was there too. Dick Wurz is a great dude. So, all right, let's see what else. Any complaints from the passengers of the morgue wagon? No complaints from the passengers. No. How am I doing as a business? Am I using any of the SBA grants or loans? Timothy. So we have applied for the SBA grants and loans. We haven't taken any money yet because, well, it hasn't been funded yet. We just got our application in over the weekend. I don't know all the details. We are struggling as a business very much so right now. I have 4 trucks out in the field, 1 of my own. All the rest of my guys are actually, they park their trucks at the office and they're collecting unemployment right now. So we are completely dead. Very minimal service calls. We're hurting. So we applied. Whether or not we're going to use the money, I don't know, because we need to find out what the details and the stipulations are of the SBA loans. So what work have I had at the moment, or am I just sat at home? I've had a couple service calls. Today I actually had 4 service calls on the books. I only got to 2 of them because I had to come home for the live stream. So I know for sure I have the 2 tomorrow. Last week I had another 2 service calls. I'll have video material of some of them coming soon. I've been trying to video them, so hopefully that'll keep me going a little bit. Ernesto, you said you worked on a cooler for a morgue and they still had bodies inside. They couldn't take them out, so I replaced a temp control 2 foot on top of what looked like a little girl, drove home scared. Yeah, Ernesto, so that's happened to me before. I was very stern with the hospital. I worked at a hospital, and one time they called me at like 2 in the morning, not the time that I screwed everything up for the morgue cooler, and they said, hey, we got a 4-passenger morgue cooler that's at 50 degrees. We need you to come out. It's an emergency. And I said, is there anybody in the cooler? And they said, yeah, it's fully loaded. There's four passengers in there. And I said, they have to be gone. I said, no ifs, ands, or buts. They cannot be in the cooler when I have to work on it, period. They need to be gone. And he's like, well, what do I do with them? And I said, I don't mean to be rude, in no offense, but I said, that's not my problem. They just need to be out of there because I can't work on it with people in there. So When I got there, all 4 were gone, and they had a tiny morgue. I don't know where they put them. I still to this day, I wondered where, like, did they just store them in a closet, or like, I can't see them putting them in a walk-in cooler with food, but I could just imagine like the little kitchen lady walking into the walk-in and there's 4 freaking bodies laying on a gurney. I don't know what they did with them, but I always wondered. I still wonder to this day what they did with those 4 passengers, because they really don't have much storage at the hospital other than the morgue. But yeah, I couldn't work on them with passengers. I did, however, get to help one time. They had 1 passenger in it, and the orderly came down, and they were still waiting on another orderly, and it was actually really cool. They got this really cool, like, it almost looks like an equipment lift chain mechanism that you reel up, and it's got a winch on it. And I got to help an orderly load a passenger onto one of the metal trays that they put the bodies on. And then we got to move it out, and it was really cool to get to work it and like help him. I didn't touch the body. It was in a body bag, but that was pretty cool. There was an instance though, when I opened up a 2-passenger one time. I had worked on that morgue cooler a bunch at that hospital, but there was a 2-passenger one time, and I opened it up, and there was a body bag about that big. That one bothered me. That one I knew was like a little kid. That one hit me kind of hard, and it was like, and it had a name on it too, and it was like, man, that one sucked for sure, you know? Yeah, it's definitely sucks. What are my thoughts on EMS systems? You know, EMS systems are great if they're set up right. Oftentimes I've had pushback from the energy management companies and or the internet thermostat controllers, right? Because nowadays you can just do internet thermostats, and it's like a low budget EMS system, but it's not really a true EMS. But maintaining the proper settings for like the indoor fans and different things like that. In California, in restaurants, I know in other parts of the country it's different, but in restaurants in California, we run the indoor fan the entire time the building is occupied. So from the moment that the exhaust fans are turned on for building balance reasons, all the indoor fans in the entire restaurant have to be running, because we bring fresh air into the building and we rely on that fresh air. So convincing energy management companies that the indoor fan needs to run has always been a struggle for me. And that's something that I run into problems with EMS companies. Let's see. Questions, guys. Get them in here, and I'll definitely try to get to them. Get the money and go to Vegas and put it all on black. Yeah. Can I do a review info video on Blue On someday? You keep getting ads and you're curious. Backyard redneck. I don't know, man. You know, the way that Blue On's been targeting these and how they were trying to post their links and stuff in the stream earlier, like, I honestly hold a grudge. And when they start doing crap like that, it really pisses me off. And even if they're throwing money at me, I'm going to probably tell them to go pound sand. I don't like when people are rude. And I saw Blue On get into Zach's live stream the other day and started posting links too. And Zach shut him down real quick too. So not a fan of them and the marketing. But I have nothing bad to say about the product. Just what I've been noticing the last 2 days on the marketing has been kind of pissing me off. So is that book also good for supermarket rack refrigeration? So this book right here does a basic on supermarket rack refrigeration. I think it has a chapter on it. It'll give you an intro to it. I wouldn't say that it's going to solve all your supermarket rack problems, but it definitely gives you an intro. Let's see what else. Do I have customers that have closed permanently? Not that I have heard of yet, but there's a few mom and pop restaurants that I wouldn't be surprised if they do close permanently. So that's definitely a scary thing coming. All right. Let me see what else we got in here. Yeah, Ernesto, they've been targeting all the YouTube channels, is my understanding. They've sent me 4 emails, and I just honestly never really wanted to work with them. So again, nothing bad to say about the product. Do not want to talk crap about their product. So, because I don't know. How does the price of R22 compare with Blue On? R22 is so cheap right now, it's not even funny. Last I looked was like 6 months ago, and R22, I want to say it was like $400 a drum or something like that. It's nothing, okay? But that was like 6 months ago. I don't know what it is now. It's been a long time since I bought R22. Is now the perfect time to buy tools? If you have money, now's a great time to buy tools. There's all kinds of manufacturers doing promos. Again, I'm not a Testo person, but I even think I saw TrueTech Tools saying they'll give you like a 9% or 10% discount on Testo tools right now. So there's all kinds of deals and different things like that. So sure, I'm not a Testo person and I don't use Testo products, but If you use, go to True Tech Tools, use, I don't have an offer code with them, but use my buddy's offer code. Use Shop Talk or use HVAC Overtime. They might have an overtime. Joe or anybody that's in here from Overtime, do you guys have an offer code for True Tech Tools? I'm assuming it's like HVAC Overtime or something. Throw your Overtime, your YouTube code or whatever in there. So. Do I have videos on pressure switches? Andy C, I have a few videos on setting low pressure controls. Yeah. The thing is that I don't make like specific videos like this is how you set a pressure switch. My videos are more, here's my service call and I set a pressure switch within this video. So you got to kind of get through the meat and potatoes to get to the whole pressure switch settings. I did write an article for HVACR School, Brian Orr's website, on use different types of temperature controllers and using a low pressure control as a temp control. So if you go to hvacrschool.com and just Google there's like a search icon and just look up Chris Stevens. There's like 4 articles I think I wrote for him. One on smoke detectors, one on exhaust fans, one on temperature controllers. And then I think there was another one too. I can't remember what it was about. Is Blue On the only game in town? No, there's plenty of alternatives to R22. In fact, if anybody is curious about an alternative to R22, again, I have no affiliation with him other than him being a cool dude that gives me lots of great information. Reach out to my buddy Ralph at Honeywell Refrigerants. There's his email right there, and he'll talk to you about it. So let me see. What else I got going on? All right, I'm going to look at my list of things. Ooh, really great question. So, I'm not going to get super detailed about this, but here's another problem as a business that I run into. How far out do I let my customers get as far as what they owe me? Jeff, thank you very much for that super chat. Jeff, the maintenance man. Jeff also does YouTube videos. Just click on the 3 dots next to his name and you'll be able to check him out. But thanks for that super chat, bud. I really appreciate it. So how far out do we let our customers get? Now, I'm not going to get into details, but working with chain restaurants, something that you have to understand is they typically have money to spend when things are bad, okay? Because they usually have a lot of capital behind them and they like to maintain their equipment. On the flip side, they usually take a long time to pay. So it's part of the game. You have to learn to deal with things. In times like this, how do we deal with them when they don't want to pay bills? That is a struggle right now. I do not have the answer, but that is a struggle for sure. I can guarantee you one thing. A lot of people, my wife and different people say, well, just make them COD. You will never, ever get a chain restaurant to pay you a COD. It's just not going to happen. So you either do the work or you don't. You either do the work and know that you're going to get paid, or you do the work or you don't do the work and they call someone else. That is a struggle that we have to deal with as a business owner right now, is are they paying? How long is it going to take them to pay? How much do they owe you? That is scary. So I can't get into number details, but that is definitely scary. Let me see. Thank you guys, these super chats. Thank you very much. These are very awesome. Covering a condensing unit during winter, good or bad? I mean, if you want to protect it from the elements and snow and things like that, sure, but don't forget to uncover it. You definitely don't worry about it getting rained on, though. There ain't nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't get crazy hail, just make sure you got hail guards on it. But, I mean, if you don't want it full of snow or something like that, sure, you can cover it. There's nothing wrong with it as long as you're not using it. But if it's a heat pump, or do you have gas heat or oil heat? If you have a heat pump, you can't cover your condensing unit. Don't, because it needs to run. But, I mean, if it's just a straight AC and it's just sitting out there getting hit by the elements, I mean, it's not going to hurt to cover it. Just don't forget to uncover it. And be careful about covering it, too. Just make sure that you put a legit cover over it. Don't try to nail crap into it or anything like that. Guys, so I really do appreciate these super chats, but I got to say, you don't have to put a super chat to ask a question. I know times are tight right now. If you guys have it, sure, I welcome it, but don't spend your money just to ask me a question. Feel free to put your questions in caps lock. I have no problem. I don't want you guys to spend your pennies because, you need to save your pennies right now, right? That's the same thing with me. So, but thank you very much. Okay. Testo 570 is the best manifold. Battery sign needs to be on the top left. Okay, K Services. See, I've never used the Testo, so I can't talk bad about it. Some people swear by the Testo products. I do have to say one of the cool things about the Testo manifolds is they're much smaller than the field piece manifolds. So, give and take. I just choose to use the field piece because I like them. So, So I did kind of talk about this. One of the videos, I had an experiment over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I started working on the R290 cooler. I already said this at the beginning of the stream. I'll just say it again. I started working on the R290 cooler that I did the whole experiment on with 134A. I put 290 back into it, pulled the vacuum, put 290 back into it, and then threw a full-blown key to therm evap efficiency controller on it with Wi-Fi connectability. It has a pressure transducer. It has adaptive defrost, all that fancy stuff. I put it in my garage and loaded it up with a bunch of drinks and different things. And I plan on doing some experimentation on it. So I got a little video on that. That'll be coming soon. I don't know if that's quite worthy of a normal weekly video, but we'll see. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to say this again because I started this at the stream. What I'm concerned about right now, and I got quite a few people in here. I'm going to use this to talk to you guys, okay? I'm concerned about right now is deceptive marketing and incorrect information being spread to people. Okay, I'm nobody. I'm just a dude that can hit record on YouTube. But I'm going to say right now, there is no proven product at this moment in time that kills the COVID-19 virus that we are fighting right now. Okay, I already said this in the beginning. I'm just saying it again for the new people that came in. There's no UV light that has been proven and approved by all the approval people to kill COVID-19. There is no cleaners. There's no chemicals. There's no anything that is proven to kill COVID-19. COVID-19 is a coronavirus. It is not the coronavirus. There's several different coronaviruses. The common cold is a coronavirus, okay? That is why if you pick up Lysol wipes or if you look on the back of Lysol, it says it kills coronavirus. It's not because it was a government conspiracy and all that crap. It's because the common cold is a type of coronavirus. So Lysol kills corona or types of coronaviruses. There's air conditioning and refrigeration chemical manufacturers that have marketing information that says our product kills coronavirus. And there is truth and there is also deceptive marketing in that because right now, unfortunately, our media is calling what we're fighting right now coronavirus. So the media comes out, the president comes out, whoever comes out and says we're fighting coronavirus. We are fighting a type of coronavirus, okay? It annoys the trying to watch my tongue right now, but it annoys the fuck out of me, okay? Because there's no proven anything that is killing COVID-19. Now, there's a very good possibility that UV lights will kill it. There's a very good possibility that Lysol will kill it, that whatever name chemical manufacturer will kill it, but there's nothing in proven documentation, whatever, okay? So you cannot ethically go to your customers and say this UV light will solve your problems. You will not catch COVID-19 if you use this UV light. That is incorrect information. There might be truth in that information, but it is not proven. Don't go to your customers and try to sell them snake oils when you don't know them to be truthful. I have no problem. Again, I'm no authority over this, okay? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist. I don't know anything about all that fancy numbers and words and all that crap, okay? But I do know it is unethical for you to go to your customer and say, if you put this UV light in your house, you will not catch coronavirus, because you do not know that to be true. It might be true. You might be making a very good educated guess. And in all honesty, I genuinely feel like there's a pretty good chance that a lot of these chemicals are going to kill it, but we don't know that to be true. So don't go out to your customers and say that this is going to solve your problem. I suggest, again, I'm nobody to be the person, but I would approach it like, look, these kill these types of viruses. Nothing is proven to kill COVID-19, but it's a good estimated guess. It's a good educated guess that maybe this might help. How could it hurt if we try this? Sure, go with that. But don't be that person that goes out and sells them on something when it's not true, okay? I've gotten into a lot of internet arguments about that. I'm going to stand firm on that one, okay? Until it's proven, I'm not going to believe anything. Now, do I have any UV lights or chemicals on my evaporator? No. Would I consider cleaning my evaporator with a chemical? Sure. I would consider using an evaporator coil cleaner. Do I know it's going to solve the problem? No, but it can't hurt, right? Got to be cautious too with UV lights because there's a lot of information out there saying good and bad. So you know the answer that's true is somewhere in between. So just because someone says a UV light's the greatest thing in the world, you got another guy saying it's the worst thing in the world. So the answer's got to be somewhere in the middle. I know that UV lights, certain types, again, I'm not a genius when it comes to them, but certain types can create ozone. Ozone can be bad in certain situations. Other types of UV lights don't create ozone. So be very cautious about your recommendations when you sell this crap to people. Don't go out there and be one of those fear-mongering companies that's going to try to sell death to the customers, okay? I don't want to go tell your grandma that this is going to solve her problems, and then she thinks she spends all this money and then thinks she's going to be good, and then she's not. That's messed up, right? You got a moral dilemma there. So, all right, let's see what else we got going here. Lightsabers, okay. It's like, all right, I'm just seeing if I'm missing anything inside here. Did anyone see the scammers on the streets charging $200 a pop for fake COVID tests? Unbelievable. Yeah, there's a lot of scammers. Okay, you have to understand something. Everybody is desperate right now. We're all scared. As a business owner, I am scared to death. All right. But you can only do what you can do. But at the same time, just because I'm scared, I can't deflect that and start trying to sell, you know, to try to make money and stuff. That's not right. And that's not moral or ethical or anything. You got to be fair. You got to be honest with your customers. All right, let's see what else. There is 2 different testo, Germany and from China. Yeah, there is 2 different types of testo. Well, it's not that there's 2 testos. They're both the same company. It's just that testo has some of their products made in China and some of them made in Germany. So, grandmas have the money. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, let's see what I'm missing in the chat here. I'm going to see what I'm missing on my list of things to talk about. I really don't have anything else to talk about on my list. So, throw some more questions in here, and let's see what else we got going on. Did anyone see the scammer? Yeah, I already answered that one. Hot gas bypass versus VFD drive. Paul L. If I had to pick between a hot gas bypass and a VFD, I genuinely would pick the hot gas bypass because it's a mechanical fitting. With VFDs, the biggest thing, in my opinion, I'm not an expert at all, but in my opinion, most VFDs don't have proper power conditioning going to the building. We're not protecting the power. We're not regulating the power. So unless it's the fanciest VFD in the world with all kinds of filters and different things, I feel like you're going to run into problems, especially here in Southern California with our brownouts and crappy power situations. And I feel like a hot gas bypass is just a mechanical function, right? It works or it doesn't work. It's a mechanical thing, and usually, in my opinion, it's going to last a little bit longer. I'm sure there's some more efficiency numbers, and you can see all kinds of white papers and different things that say VFDs are great. VFDs are also really expensive to fix when they fail. Hot gas bypass, in my opinion, is a little bit less expensive. So I'm more of a hot gas bypass, old school mechanical kind of guy. That was a good question. You can always text me. I really appreciate that. Backyard redneck. Really appreciate that. All right, let's see. It does. Am I in the area that requires masks? I'm in Riverside County, so I mean, guys, don't believe what the media says. The media has all this crap out there. I went to a restaurant today and I was just blown away. No masks, no anything. Now, I was wearing a mask at work today. It's very uncomfortable. I have a N95, whatever mask, and it's very uncomfortable. Double straps. My face probably has marks from it. Sucks, How am I going to get that evaporator out of that last place? I have no idea. In all honesty, I'm hoping that the customer is just going to let me do a bunch of braze joints on it. If I have to change that evaporator, it's going to be a flipping nightmare. In no way in form am I set up to change that entire air handler. I can't do it. I would have to get another contractor to do it because I'm not a construction person that has the ability to spend all that time at that restaurant. What are the dangers of running a split air conditioner in cold climates? I mean, there's not a lot of dangers. You're going to have lower condensing temps. With lower condensing temps, your expansion valve might not work correctly. Oftentimes, the expansion valves are set to have a set pressure differential across them. What else? Lower condensing temps. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be lower condensing temps and the repercussions of that. Please explain the procedures on having liquid receiver 3/4 of a tank full. Nelson Jovo. So a liquid line receiver at the 3/4 mark. I'm assuming you're talking to the videos where I've showed filling up the receiver to the 3/4 mark. Something to understand on a refrigeration system that has a receiver. Oftentimes we will install a head pressure control valve. A head pressure control valve is set and meant to maintain a certain pressure differential across the expansion valve. Okay, when we get low ambient conditions, the head pressure drops, the condensing temp drops. The expansion valve doesn't have the proper differential across it, meaning on the expansion valve, you're going to have a high side and a low side, right? Because it feeds and meters the refrigerant. So if you don't have enough pressure to drive the refrigerant through the valve, then especially on the older valves, we could have problems. So why would I fill the receiver up to the 3/4 mark? The 3/4 mark in a system when it's pumped down is the absolute maximum amount of refrigerant you can put into a system. Filling up a receiver to the 3/4 mark is an ass backwards way of putting the proper charge in the system, assuming it has a head pressure control valve. The head pressure control valve, again, is there to maintain that pressure differential. So if you cannot properly calculate the amount of refrigerant needed for that head pressure control valve to work properly, as a last-ditch effort, what you can do is put the maximum amount of refrigerant in that system and know that you just genuinely can't add any more gas to it. So it's kind of like a half-ass way of saying, this is all the gas I can put into it. Let's fill it up to 3/4. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Yes, theoretically, it's overcharging the system, not to a point that it's not going to work right, but it's putting unnecessary refrigerant into the system. But if you have an old tube and fin condenser, meaning a copper tubes with normal fins, you can use the Sporlan 90-30-1 method. Go to sporlan.com and look up the 90-30-1 method. And that tells you how to calculate the proper flooded charge. Essentially, you're going to measure the straight runs of condenser. You're going to find out the internal volume, how much refrigerant it can hold. You're going to do a calculation, and it'll tell you how much gas to add to the system for it to flood the condenser and have the right amount of refrigerant when the head pressure control valve bypasses, okay? On a microchannel condenser, that can be difficult. Also on a system that's in operation and it already has refrigerant in it, there's instances where it can be hard to find out the proper flooded charge. So in that situation or with a microchannel, oftentimes I will take the easy route and put the maximum amount of refrigerant in there. Fill the receiver up to the 3/4 mark when it's pumped down. The difficult thing is sometimes that can be 10 pounds of extra refrigerant on the systems that I deal with. Now, where that's not very practical is in a supermarket situation where your receiver might hold hundreds and hundreds of pounds of refrigerant, and filling it up to the 3/4 mark might be so much extra refrigerant that it would be a crazy amount for the customer, okay? So I'm talking about the more light commercial systems. It's an easy shortcut. Fill the receiver up to the 3/4 mark when it's pumped down. Now the difficult thing is how do you tell where it's at? How do you tell the 3/4 mark when it's pumped down? You have to use some sort of heat producing device that doesn't exceed the soft plug temperature of the receiver, the blowout temperature, and then you have to feel the liquid level with your fingers or use a thermal imaging camera to show you where the liquid level is. Okay, so hopefully I answered your question, and let's see if I'm missing anything else. Yeah, put nylog in it. That's right. Is it okay to pump back coolant to the condenser when swapping out when you don't have a pump? Pump back coolant. I don't know what you mean by that, bud. Let me see what else. Can I explain? Let me go ahead and remove that. Can I explain some common terms you use for non-HVACR folks? Send me an email and I will cover those. Remind me, and I'll try to come up with a list of different things that will help you to understand what I'm talking about. Let's see. Is it okay to? Oh yeah, I answered that. What heater do I use to see receiver amount? Jeremy, I can't tell you what that is for liability reasons, but guys in the chat, if you know what sort of heat producing device that I use, go ahead and say it. I know there's usually a couple different things, but I will tell you it is not an oxy-acetylene torch kit, and I do not use a Bic lighter. It's somewhere in between there. You can use whatever device doesn't exceed the soft plug temperature of the receiver. Let's see what else. Al Imran, send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com and I'll try to answer that a little bit more for you, okay? Guys, I am going to wrap this up. I really do appreciate you guys coming in here. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the outro music. And if I can give you guys any advice, same thing I've been saying at the end of every one of my streams. Do me a favor, take a step back and look at the big picture. You will see so much more. You will make so much more, genuinely, honestly. Give the customer a big picture diagnosis. Let them make the decisions on where they want to go with it. If you can't figure something out, just stop, take a step back, and look at the big picture. Okay, very important information. Please, please, please follow it. I'm going to transition the outro music, and I really do appreciate you guys coming in here.
It's time to chill out.
My bad. I forgot. I still had another beer. See? I'm not going to drink the whole thing, but... Who's still here? I see the numbers dropping. I don't know. There's still quite a few people in here. Let's see. Let's see when this comes over. See, what I can see on my screen. Let me show you. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see. Let me transition that one over. So what I can see, I've got two screens right here, right? This one shows what's going on, and this one is actually a YouTube feed. So the stream is actually a couple minutes behind. So I can actually see, you know, like what you guys are seeing right now, which is a couple minutes behind, or like 30 seconds or 45 seconds behind or something like that. All right. I am pouring another beer. That's right. Got to finish that one, and then it's dinner time. So, but for real, guys, I really do appreciate you guys coming in here. It's really cool, especially the guys that come in consistently. It's cool to see everybody in here and stuff. Yeah, the important people are here for sure. You guys, if I haven't said it enough, definitely, you guys know who my friends are. You see them in here. Zach wasn't in here today, at least I didn't see, but Zach's one of my friends. Joe, the HVAC overtime crew. Adam, go check them out. Bill, they all got great YouTube channels. Definitely anybody that you see in here that you know has a YouTube channel, just click on the three dots next to their name and go to their channel. First Alert, how's it going, bud? How you doing today? Definitely. Does mushrooms help learn refrigeration deeper? I wouldn't say that mushrooms are going to help you with that. I think mushrooms affect everybody differently. Some people, I think they, I know you weren't being serious about that, but I'm going to answer my stupid answer and go with that. Really do appreciate everybody coming in here. You have a spider on my shoulder, Chris. Yes, I'm sorry if I have a spider on my shoulder. There's no spider on my shoulder. I think you took too many mushrooms, buddy. Let's see what else. It works pretty good, Dave. And in no way, guys, that's another thing too. I'm not trying to flex when I show my setup. These monitors were not expensive. They're very inexpensive monitors, okay? They're very cheap ones. I want to say I already had one of them, and I want to say they were $200 each. And I'm not saying that $200 is nothing, okay? But it's not like I have some fancy $1 million setup in here, okay? My desks are all from IKEA, nothing fancy. The same things back there. It's just stuff that I picked up over the last year and a half, so... On the next stream, can I show the apps I use on my phone? Yeah, Molly, I definitely could. I use the apps on my phone a lot, and I definitely like to show them. So I'll definitely do that. I've got some other streams too. So time for video using HVAC apps. Yeah, definitely. I'll show those for sure. So do a stream with Brian Orr. That's an interesting thing. Maybe I could set that up. I'm sure Brian would be open to that and doing a live stream or something like that. I'm sure we can arrange that. Brian's a pretty cool dude. So maybe we can schedule that. Maybe I'll send him an email. So, you know what? I tell you what, you guys go flood Brian Orr's emails and send him emails and say, hey, you should do a live stream with Chris and see, and just everybody go flood his email box. Brian at hvacrschool.com, maybe. I don't know what his email is. I have it in my phone, but I could text him too. But you guys go flood his email and tell him you want me to do a live stream with him. So, ever thought of teaching in the future? Yeah, I mean, I would love to teach. Unfortunately, right now, for most of the trades, the money's not there to become a teacher. Obviously, right now, things are slow, but unfortunately, I think, you know, there's not, you know, people aren't being paid enough to be for what they do. An up and coming, not an up and coming, but one of the teachers that I've been turned on to, I think his name is Ty Brannaman. Wow, I heard that dude talk at Brian Orr's HVACR symposium. That dude is really cool, very smart dude. His teaching style is very unique. I got to sit in on a seminar with him at the HVACR school training symposium. And wow, I could only strive to become a teacher like Ty. He's just so engaging. Steve, I don't know if you watched at Ty's thing, but that dude is awesome. So I don't know what his email is, to be honest with you, Sterling. Brian's, just look up HVACR school. I'm sure there's an email on there. Can I talk about my Rodecaster Pro? Rodecaster Pro. And Steve, I did get your email. I'm going to try to answer your questions and stuff. There's a couple people reaching out to me about the streams. So yeah, the Rodecaster Pro is a great streaming mixing board. It's great. It does all kinds of cool stuff. Steve, I think it'd probably be best just send me an email. I know you already did. Refresh, send me another email just to remind me, and we'll try to talk about that. Let's see. You can also flood his YouTube channel or Facebook. Yeah, definitely check out Brian's YouTube channel and Facebook. Tell him what's up. Tell him you want to see a stream with me and him, and I'm sure we can figure something out. So, but I mean, I know I can reach out to Brian and he'll say yes, but I think it'd just be funny if you guys all blow him up. You know, I was thinking about this. I need a group of core people. There's a radio show I used to listen to called Opie and Anthony, right? And they were kind of like a Howard Stern copycat, right? And they had this group of people and they called them their pests. And I was thinking about that actually today. I was like, man, I need a group of pests. Like if I want to get something done, if I want to work with a manufacturer, I need a group of you guys that I could say, hey, go flood this person's email and work, send this stuff out there. Not that I need that with Brian. Brian, if I called Brian, he would totally be willing to do my stream. But I just thought it'd be funny if you guys all flooded his stuff. But I need a group of you guys and we need a name for you. And we need to call you my whatever, like Opie and Anthony had their pests. And anytime Opie and Anthony wanted something done, they would just ask their pests. And then they would just annoy the hell out of people until they did it. So we need that. All right, let me see what I'm missing. You watch HVAC School all the time. Yeah, Brian is the coolest dude ever. I got to meet Brian in Florida at the Orlando HR thing at his training symposium. He is exactly what he is on YouTube, on whatever you expect, like in his podcast. He's that same person. The most down-to-earth, chill dude. Very cool guy. Very cool guy. Let's see. Jim Bergman, Chris Stevens, and all Brian Orr would be a great one. Yeah, Jim Bergman, man, that dude's way above my pay grade, man. Jim Bergman's a smart dude. I also got to sit down and have a drink with him, too. Again, I was sitting at the table with, at the end of this table at the HVACR training symposium. Steve, this was for the sponsors and, content creators, whatever people that were part of the symposium. I was sitting at the end of the table with Andrew Greaves, aka HVAC. I was sitting there with Brian Orr, with Jim Bergman. In fact, Jim Bergman actually stole my chair, right? I got up to go to the bathroom and I came back and he was sitting in my chair and I had to go grab another chair because I wasn't going to tell him to move, and I dragged my chair over there. But so Jim Bergman, Andrew Greaves, Brian Orr, and Dick Wurs, all at the end of the table, and we were sitting down talking. Everybody was exhausted from the day. Super cool to be able to sit down with those dudes. All amazing dudes. Andrew Greaves is exactly what you expect him to be when you see him on his videos. Jim Bergman, same thing. Super smart dude. Dick Wurs, Brian Orr, they're all awesome dudes. Awesome dudes. So let's see what else. Your dad is Adam, so Adam is not Molly, if that makes sense. You're 15, so you're interested in HVAC, and Adam does residential HVAC. So Molly Penderson, your dad is Adam Showers? That's interesting. I'm kind of freaked out if you're 15, though. So that kind of freaks me out about you being on here. But, all right, just call us your helpers. Yeah, my helpers. There you go, or grabbers. No, Justin, grabbers is or tool grabbers. That's kind of weird. Tool grabbers. Gophers. You're my gophers. No, you're not my gophers. You're my helpers. Yeah, that's good. So, epic lineup. Yeah, that was an epic lineup for sure. So, all right, gents, I really am going to wrap this up because I got to pee and it's dinner time. So, I'm going to go ahead and cue up the outro music again. I really, really appreciate everybody coming in here. And let me see if I can figure out how to cue up this outro picture and catch you guys on the next one, okay? there really isn't going to be another encore because my cup's empty and I'm all out of beer. So that is it.